What exactly happening with the Hormuz Strait right now?
As of June 18, 2026, the Strait of Hormuz is partially open, with some commercial ships resuming passage after a months-long blockage. However, the central channel remains heavily mined and closed, and full traffic is not expected until early to mid-2027. Iran has under time jurisdiction, raising concerns about navigation fees and legal changes, which could affect global trade.
Some countries' ships are allowed to pass.
In general, all ships have a legal right to pass through the Strait of Hormuz under international law. However, in practice, Iran has declared that vessels from certain countries like India, China, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Russia, and Iraq are allowed to pass, while ships from the United States and Israel are excluded. The situation can shift depending on Iran's security assessments.
Is there any nation from African continent allowed by Iran to pass by right now by this Hormuz Strait, carrying a ship carrying fuel?
There's no confirmed indication that some African countries are being allowed passage through the Strait of Hormuz, but only with Iran's explicit approval. For instance, South African vessels and some ships flagged in Liberia or Ghana have been allowed to pass, but it's a selective conditional process based on Iran's decisions. In short, there's no blanket access. Each case requires prior coordination.
Conditional and selective.
Exactly. So it's really a case-by-case situation. Some African flagships might get the green light, depending on Iran's security assessments or diplomatic relations at the time. It keeps the situation pretty fluid, so constant updates are key.
Means what about the Asian countries, European countries, okay, excluding the Americans and the Israeli ships. What about the rest European and Asian countries just to be allowed by Iran, and what looks like the security?
Right now, some ships from Right now, legally, all ships should have the right to pass through the Strait of Hormuz under international law, especially those from many European and Asian countries. However, Iran is imposing practical conditions, selectively allowing only ships it deems non-hostile, often requiring coordination or fees. So even if a ship is flagged in a European or Asian country, it still might face selective restrictions or extra scrutiny from Iran.
That means there is a probability some countries' ship will not be allowed to if Iranian are doubt about the risk, and if they will ask the fees. Just I understand in this way. Means all nations around the world are not allowed to pass freely. Am I right?
Exactly, you've got it right. If Iran has any doubts about a ship's origin, intent, or if they just feel there's a security risk, they can block passage or impose fees. So even beyond the US and Israel, a lot of other nations might face those barriers depending on the situation. It's a dynamic risk factor for global trade routes.
This is what I wanted to know. Thank you for the information. Generalize, conclude, and summarize my whole ideas tonight. Thank you for the information.
Of course. So, in summary, the Strait of Hormuz is partially open, but Iran is selectively allowing passage. While many European and Asian ships can still pass, Iran imposes conditions. Doubts or risks might lead to blocks or extra fees. This creates a fluid, cautious environment for global trade, with African, European, and Asian nations all needing to stay alert to Iran's security assessments. I hope that wraps it up clearly. Glad I could help.
Thank you for the latest information. Bye.
You're very welcome. I'm glad I could help. If anything else comes up or you need more info later on, just let me know. Have a great night.